Yo, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video, and we have to talk about the story that has really, I feel, been taking social media and the PC gaming world by storm. We covered it yesterday, talking about Valve and what they're dealing with these payment processors and the censorship, and it seems to only be exploding. The amount of traction that I saw this story get yesterday was insane, because I think people did get a lot of attention put to it, and a lot of other content creators are making videos on it, social media, news articles, etc., that now everybody is well aware of this. And again, let me reiterate that I think it is more than just about the specific games getting banned and pulled from Steam. Oh my god, why do you care so much about Sex Adventures getting pulled from Steam? I think people care much more about the payment processors having so much power to dictate Valve and Steam and their censorship. Remember that Valve is a gigantic platform, and if a payment processor can just come in and be like, yo, we don't like this, and then Valve immediately bucks to that and they start delisting things, that's pretty insane when you actually think about it. But Valve has put out an official statement noting, "We were recently notified that certain games on Steam may violate the rules and standards set forth by our payment processors and their related card networks and banks. As a result, we are retiring those games from being sold on the Steam store because the loss of payment methods would prevent customers from being able to purchase other titles and game content on Steam. We are directly notifying developers of these games and issuing app credits should they have another game they'd like to distribute on Steam in the future." Look, I get that all of these games getting delisted is, to a lot of us, not going to be a big deal. At the end of the day, think what you want about Sex Village and Slave of the Police Officer, Interactive Sex, so on and so forth. There are people that in fact put man hours into creating these games. I don't know if it's AI, asset flips, and all this, but I would imagine that some of these games had literal man hours be put into it. Think what you want about the circumstances of the game, but at the end of the day, someone took their time to create these games, and some people would deem that these games are art, you know, and Steam directly, don't get it twisted. Valve knew that these games were an avenue for them to make money. I don't think it's a coincidence that a lot of these games started popping up on Steam, and suddenly Valve introduced a mechanic that you could, or a feature that you could private your games on Steam. Whoa there! I wonder why they conveniently introduced that feature, because, I'm sorry, I don't need my boys telling me, yo, dude, can you get on and play some League with us? And meanwhile, I'm just playing Interactive Sex. Nah, brah, I'll put that on hidden and I will private my Steam profile. What they did is you could have always privated your Steam profile, but you could private individual games with a new feature they introduced not too long ago. We covered it on this channel, and everybody ran through the fact that this was probably for the NSFW games. Now, the NSFW games have been around for years and years, and Valve was making a killing off of them, but obviously it is a drop in the bucket relative to all of the games that are sold on Steam. Like, as much as people might get a laugh and a kick out of Interactive Sex, like Baldur's Gate 3, The Witcher 3, Cyberpunk, and I mention all of those games because those games have a little bit of nudity in them as well, and I think that's another instance of something that people are absolutely terrified of. The payment processors having this level of power. Yes, right now it's just the Interactive Sexes of the world. It's just the Sex Villages of the world. At what point do we give the payment processors the level of power for them to dictate, we don't like that, we don't like this, we don't like that, we don't like that, we don't like that, hey, ready or not, we see what you're doing, you gotta censor it even more, we don't like that, all the blood and guts in that game, and ultimately, this could lead to limiting creative expression, creative freedom. Yes, me relating creative expression to Sex Village, maybe that doesn't track as more, but whenever you give somebody an inch, a lot of the times, especially corporations and, entities with a lot of power, they will take a mile. They will keep pushing and pushing and pushing to see how much they can get and then claw into the control even more. And think about as big of an entity that Steam is, they are being controlled and they are having to succumb to what the payment processors do want. And this story has been getting a ton of traction. And at this point, it isn't the major titles. It isn't the Cyberpunks. It isn't the Baldur's Gate 3s. It isn't the Witcher 3s. But it isn't Ready or Not. But there are a lot of games it potentially could be. And do I think ultimately it'll explode and get to that territory? Honestly, no. Because it's one thing when these games are getting pulled, and I get that people are upset about it, just because what this could spiral into. Any level of censorship on any storefront, you don't want to see it. And I saw somebody comment, and a lot of people commented, yeah, buddy, there's a lot of shovelware on Steam, but who cares? Let all of these games exist. And I agree to that to an extent. At some point, I do think it gets a little bit chaotic, but at the end of the day, they do a good job of filtering, like, the new releases that are anticipated and people, and, you know, tailored interests and things of that nature. So, you know, shovelware just existing on a platform, is it really harming anybody? No, it's on the individual to buy these games, and censorship can always spiral out of control, and then it ends up censoring other games. Other developers, while creating a game, could have it in the back of their mind, hey, I really don't want to deal with any of these issues that could potentially come up with payment processors. Let me now tailor my development to avoid said issues. Thus, this is absolutely going to limit creative freedom in video games. And I think that domino effect is what people are afraid about. It's not in a vacuum about Sex Village getting delisted. Yes, it's a very funny argument. Oh my god, you guys care so much about Sex Village getting delisted. That is people obviously just, you know, having a laugh and whatnot, and I get that to an extent. You can have a laugh because of the titles of the games getting pulled, but do realize that this could spiral out of control, and it might even have ramifications that you don't even see, in the sense that a developer that isn't helmed by the biggest publisher in the world, they're working on an indie game, and now they have to think about what their creative freedom could be, and they could think about potential issues, not even issues that have happened yet, but issues that could potentially arise in the future. They don't want to put a lot of work towards their games, and ultimately their game gets delisted from the biggest PC gaming storefront on planet Earth, just because of what a payment processor said, and now they have to tailor their development into avoiding said issues. This could absolutely spiral out of control, and just any entity having the level of power that payment processors could potentially now, or do have, let's be honest, they do absolutely have, because for years and years, Valve had no worry about these games being on Steam. Hey, if you want to play Sex Village, go ahead and play and buy Sex Village. We have all of these other games, and there are a ton of other NSFW games, NSFW visual novels, story-driven NSFW games, and even that, visual novels have a lot of NSFW scenes in them that a lot of the times they do get censored for a Steam release. Now, what are you going to do about those? And I'm sure, you know, there are going to be games on other storefronts and so on and so forth, but you do have these entities now throwing their weight around, and Valve and Steam succumbing to that. That is just insane to me. And what am I to say about, obviously, I can understand from Valve's position, what are we gonna do? We have to listen to them because these are major payment processors for us to sell our games, and the hit it could be is insane. What it could have happened is it would have devolved into a complete clown show, and somebody at some point would have had to be like, alright, we're just gonna let them have the games on there. But what do you do? Like, I understand why Valve's doing what they do. It's just kind of a crappy situation to be in, because I get that in an ideal world for a lot of you guys would have been like, oh, Valve should have just stood up for themselves, and they should have just been like, we're gonna keep Sex Village on the storefront. But to keep the business rolling, to keep a profitable, and they could have made a lot of money without these entities, but they're gonna make significantly more money by having these payment processes available. I think everybody can acquiesce to that, and everybody can acknowledge that, and I can understand that, yes, for my selfish best interest, I would like no censorship on a storefront, but I understand from Valve's best interest why they're doing what they're doing. I just hate this level of power being given to the payment processors, and it's not on Valve. I can't expect Valve to be the entity to rise up against the payment processors. Would I like them to be? Sure, for my selfish best interest, yeah, like, I would like the payment processors to have less power over Valve and Steam and over any entity, but realistically, is that something that I can fathom? Probably not. That probably isn't going to happen, but that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. What an insane story, and a story that's been getting a lot of traction recently. That'll do it for me. Your thoughts down below. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.